The following clip that you're going to see in a few seconds here is taken from a local news program back in 1991 by a local Pert Martin enthusiast by the name of Nick Butler. Nick was a near and dear friend to me. I met him in 91, shortly after this was made. Uh, Everybody in the Chicago area who had Purple Martins knew Nick. Nick had a colony of 100 plus pairs of martins, and that was unheard of in the Chicago area back in the day. He had them for years, for like 30 years. He had a little corner piece of property off the intersection of I-55 and Route 53, frontage road property, and you can see he had these birdhouses all along this little pie-shaped 2-acre lot that he had, and it was a sight to see midsummer. So local news people got wind of it. They came out. So here's a clip. I hope you enjoy it.
These are the high-rise dwellers of the bird world, purple martins. When it comes to disposing of mosquitoes, purple martins are better than bug bombs or electronic zappers. These birds eat about 2,000 mosquitoes a day, catching them on the fly as they dart through the sky. This purple martin colony is on land owned by Nick Butler, affectionately known as the Birdman of Bolingbrook. The 15 birdhouses hold a total of 238 purple martin apartments. The colony is near the intersection of Interstate 55 and Route 53 in Bolingbrook, a busy commercial area. If you were a purple martin, though, you couldn't have a better landlord than Nick Butler.
It's kind of like a big treasure in your way of life. When you reach a point where you want the purple martin, you do everything underneath the sun, 24 hours a day to try and get them. And once you get them, you go ape over them. And that's the way it is.
You like them?
Oh, I love them. I don't like them. I love them.
The martin houses are man-made. Each model is named after its maker. Some are really unusual. What's this thing up here? It looks like a hard hat or a helmet or something.
That's a hard hat made by a guy by the name of Tony Zell from Crest Hill, Illinois. And
The birds nested in the hard hat?
Oh, yes, very much so.
Okay.
And the same thing with the cake pan up
This
here.
is this little one in here is a cake pan?
Angel food cake pan, and we took the cone out, and all we did was we just bolted it on there, and they went in there for the last 3 years.
The birds winter in Brazil, and when they come north to begin raising new families, the purple martin fanciers like Nick eagerly look for the first arrivals. They even have magazines and newspapers that publish a record of the sightings. Nick's is duly noted. Nick's birdhouses sit on a pretty valuable piece of land, smack in the path of commercial development. Would he ever consider selling it and evicting his feathered tenants?
No, they're the bosses. They're the bosses.
I mean, you could get 300 grand if you sold it?
I could sell this right now, 300 grand, but they don't want me to sell it. This is theirs, not mine.
You've talked to them about it?
Yeah, I'm second in line.
In Bolingbrook, Bob Wallace, Channel 2 News.
So that was Nick Butler. He was quite the character. Nick died in '96. He ended up getting colon cancer. And he died a very kind of sad person. He lost all his martins back in 1992 due to cold weather. There were no flying insects for several days, and it took place all around the country, and it wiped out martins everywhere. Not just martins, but any birds that depended on flying insects for food. You get below 50 degrees and there's no flying insects, and any birds that depend on flying insects die. And that was a year where it was a lot of birds died that year across the country. All the swallows, anything that took any type of insects with wings on them. Nick was a near and dear friend to me and to many people involved with martins. He had over 100 pairs of martins for many, many years, and he helped people get started all over the place. The area hasn't been the same without him. Without having a colony that large, you don't have a lot of young ones moving to new places. But in the area that I live in, it's still populated by the descendants of that he that he put out of that county for years, He left that. It was a 2-acre piece of property he had. It was a pie-shaped piece of property on the corner of I-55 and Route 53 in Bolingbrook, Illinois. He left that land to a friend of his, somebody he befriended when he was a child, and the guy grew up. And it is now officially a parking lot. And most of us realize that he's probably turning over in his grave, because the guy he left it to tore all those birdhouses down. He didn't even give them away. He didn't even give away those birdhouses. He tore them down, and he paved it over. And now it is just a parking lot to park trucks or RVs in. Nick affectionately used to call that little piece of property his weed patch. He had a shed there that he stayed in all summer long. He'd show up at 6 o'clock in the morning, and he'd pack up and go home at 6 o'clock at night. And none of us knew where he lived. That's the only place we knew where to find him. None of us, all his friends, I can't say all of his friends, but a good portion of us did not know where he lived. If we saw his car parked outside of that place, we knew he was there, and we would just stop in and see him. He had a little shed there that had wired up with electricity and so on, a phone line, and he kept in contact with people all over the country. He was a wonderful guy, big guy, tall, well over 6 foot tall, and he was about 80 years old. And when that clip was made, and it was sad when he was gone. It was very sad. I hope you enjoyed that clip. They don't make guys like Nick anymore. Thanks for watching.